Sheldon with TigerTough here. Right now you're looking at a set of our gray iron weave seat covers in the back of a Toyota 4Runner. Now let's get into some of the details. All of this material is 1000 denier Cordura, American-made fabric, completely waterproof so that you make any spills or disasters or dribbles, beads up, runs off, super easy to clean. It's also highly abrasion and puncture resistant so that pet claws or small children's claws do not go through them, no damage to your factory seats. And my favorite part, completely top to bottom, front to back, inside and out, made in the USA. Now, let's install these babies. We're gonna get started putting the covers on these seats, but before we do that, we need to take the headrest off since we're gonna start on this seat here. And to do that, what I was doing, you couldn't really see it because the headrest was down, but there's a button right here. Just push that in, so while the headrest is down there, push that button in, and then you can pull the headrest all the way out. Now we won't need this until we get the bottom and the back covered, so don't forget where you put it. I've got the seat bottom cover here, and it says driver on it because this is on the driver's side. So we're just gonna pull the seat bottom up because with the seat bottom pulled up like this, it's a lot easier to work on. But before I do that, I'm gonna make sure I have got all of these flaps here undone. And then on these hook and loop pieces, the hook or the rougher stuff is gonna be on the top of the cover, the part that goes over the top of the seat, and the loop is gonna be on the bottom. So I'm just trying to get the cover over this seat just to kind of take the general shape of the seat, and then we'll work on getting everything in the right place and secured down. So what you want to do is make sure that these seams all line up approximately with the corners of the actual seat bottom. So I'm just getting this pulled down, and I tucked the cover behind this plastic trim. Just makes everything fit nice and tight and look good. All right, this long flap now, I'm gonna pull this up, stick it together like that. This one here, I'm gonna pull in from the side, and pull it nice and tight because that's gonna make your cover fit way better. Same with that side, pull it in nice and tight, pull this down, whammo. And there we go. That's got the bottom covered, but now I'm gonna leave this flipped up like this because it's gonna make installing the back cover a lot easier. This is the seat back cover, also for the driver's side. It's also got the TigerTough tag on it. That must face the door. So I'm just gonna lean that seat back forward and start sliding this cover down. And as I'm pulling it down, just trying to make sure that the seam runs right down the corner, like so. Now, that popped right over, but what you're gonna wanna do is just press the cover down on one side of that plastic trim, push it around, and then gives you a nice clean finish. And the same goes for this button here. Just tuck it in there like that, and it just looks so much better. Now we've got these one long flap split into three here. It needs to go between the seat back and the floor, and then up around the back where it fastens to the cover. This hook will do everything in its power to stick to the carpet like this. And it's not the end of the world if that happens, but it's close. Now it'll just make it harder to push this through. So what I like to do, fold these over like this, and that keeps them from, ideally, from sticking to anything underneath there. And now when you're running it through here, it's a little tight between the seat back and the floor in the cargo area. So, see what I mean about that wanting to stick? I'm just gonna put it there so that way it's taken care of and out of the way. We'll get it attached properly in a minute. But now we'll just start pulling each of them through. Like I said, it's tight getting down in there, but once you get everything pulled through, you can tighten it up and fasten it together, no problem. There we go. There's all three. Now, I'm gonna undo them because I got them out here where I can work with them. And we just snug them up, stick them on. Now this piece right here, just gonna wrap around and stick on there. This car seat anchor point right here is why there is a hole in the cover. And right up in here are your factory car seat anchor points as well. This is done, and this strap right here, you'd want to make sure that you don't cover that up with the seat cover, because once your seat bottom locks in place, you're gonna have to dig up underneath your cover. It's not that much fun, so make sure this is sticking out. Headrest, wham, goes right back in place like that. Now we're gonna cover this headrest, and the two headrests on the outsides of the seat are the same, but a mirror image of each other. So this one, when I put it like this long tag has to hang down the front, and then there's a hole in this side for the little adjust-o-matic lever on the side of the headrest. So we start by putting that over like that, and then before I go down over that lever, just tuck the cover in behind it, and then pull it down, tuck the cover all in behind that lever so it gives you a nice clean finish. And then this long flap down the front goes up inside the back of the cover, and the same with these little guys on the side. And then those slits allow your headrest to still fold forward just like it's supposed to and stay fully covered. Now let's cover the center bit. And we'll start with that headrest, and we're not even going to take it off. On the headrest with the long solid flap hanging down the front and the 3 split flaps down the back. What I'm going to do now is just hook it like that, and then we'll just slide it back over the headrest, and then fasten everything together. There we go. Now for the armrest. And this is kind of like putting on a weirdly shaped pillowcase with a big hole in it. So I'm sliding it down the armrest like so. Now the square in the front, that's for your pull strap for the armrest. Just making sure that this hole lines up with these cup holders, which it does, so that means we're good to go there. Now I'm just pulling these straps out. I'll actually fasten them in a second, but first, this one here is going to go up the back. And so what I like to do is work the armrest back and forth like that while I push the cover up around the back. Just makes it nice and easy. Hold that and stick them together. And then these tuck up inside. Makes it a nice, clean, finished look, and the armrest is covered. Now we're gonna start on the bottom on the passenger side, but like before, we're gonna take the headrest off because it's gotta come off eventually. And then like before, the hook, the rougher part of the hook and loop goes across the top of the seat. I'm just gonna get this sort of, kind of on-ish, then we'll flip the seat bottom up. Pull the strap, flip the old seat bottom up. So I'm just pulling the cover down nice and tight so we know that the top looks good, and this long seam lines up. This kind of lines up with this for now, that's great. Now, like before, it's gonna take the cover and tuck it right in behind that plastic. I like to do that because A, it looks fantastic, and number 2, it prevents this from getting caught behind the cover. Now, just gonna pull this up from the front, pull it nice and snug, because when you pull it tight, everything just fits better. Stick them together, and we'll start doing that all the way across. Okay, I like it. But we need to leave that tipped up so that we can work on this part far more easier. Also, gonna hit that right there and release that whole center bit so I don't have to wrestle with that, and I only have to wrestle with this piece. Again, once you're holding it so that the TigerTough tag is facing the door, you know you're already going in the right direction. So I'm wrapping this around behind the seat belt. So see, the cover doesn't have any holes specifically for the seat belt, but it just goes behind it. Now, just like on the other side, I'm gonna go ahead and get these plastic headrest trim bits taken care of. Same goes for this button here. Just tuck the cover in behind them, because that's gonna help the cover to stay in place while I wrangle it on. Pull that down to where it needs to be. Also, this here needs to go out that hole. And we'll tuck the cover underneath that plastic trim around the seat belt. Give us more look good and fit good points. All right, what I just did right there is I started putting this hook and loop together, and I lined everything up nice and square, so that now as I work my way down here, I've got a good starting point. And you learn that by doing it wrong a whole bunch of times first. So if you just do this, you won't have to do it wrong first. Okay, we're gonna do that up once we get this part fastened. And like before, we got 3 flaps to push through here, all of which don't want to. So start by pushing them up there. I just like to reach in with my other hand and try to catch them. I didn't catch that one. Try it again. Hello there. Remember when I said they're going to want to try to stick to this carpet if you don't fold them over well? I'll actually leave that one and work on the other ones as well, because they all got to come through. Now, snug them up nice and tight. Stick them together. Finally, this last one wraps around the corner, making sure that our car seat anchor point is still accessible, and the old latch for keeping the seat back in place is not covered up. We're good to go on both accounts. Latch her into place, and we'll flip the center console up into place. Last up, the old headrest. And by now, this won't be your first rodeo when it comes to covering headrests, but I'll still show you. Slides on, and before it slides down all the way, hook it behind that little lever, so when you slide it down, the lever is outside of your cover. Tuck the cover in behind it, and then we'll just fasten up all of our tails. Now, we'll fold the bottom down, survey our work to see if anything needs adjusting. I'm gonna call it good. And there we go, installed.